Good day. This is a video presentation for a project with ITW draw form, serial number 182106. It is a combination of a strapper and a wrapper. So a side seal strapper with a turntable wrapper. So I'm going to go straight to the control panel, showing you the serial number just to corroborate. So at the same time, we'll be looking at the supply voltage, which should be 460 volts, 3 phases, 60 hertz. And the system could be pulling up to 28 amperage in a full load mode. Okay, then looking at the main disconnect here with the lockout tagout point. Here is your regulator, filter and regulator. So filter, regulator. That's your lockout tagout point for the air pressure, and that's the air pressure switch giving a signal to the PLC if pressure dropped below 40 psi. Here you have your air dump valve tied to the safety system, safety controller for a category 3. So that would purge the air off the system if the safety is breached. Then you have your switchboard and the HMI. This is an Allen Bradley Panel View Plus 7. It is 6-inch. All right. And then on top, on the very top, you have the beacon light, which will be mounted upright when you get it at the location. Then still walking around the control panel, that's your air conditioner. It's an ice cube air conditioner. And then you have the quick plug here on the back. A bunch of quick plugs since this is quite a good size system. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the internal components of the control panel. So for that, I'm going to send the camera here on a stand. And I'll go through the different devices you guys have. Okay, so first of all, on the very top, you have your LED strips for lighting purposes. And there's a switch. So when we open the control panel door, it turns on by itself. Here on the top left, you have the first step-down transformer. So primary side is 460. On secondary side, you're going to get 120 volt AC. The 120 volt will be used for the air conditioner, the power supply, and probably other devices that I forget. The power outlet here, computer outlet. That's pretty much it. And then another step-down transformer here, taking 120, convert it to 24 volt AC. That 24 volt AC is used on the hot wire to cut the film during the cut and wipe sequence on the wrapper. Then the power supply is making 24 volt DC, so we can use it for the control devices, so all the photo eyes, the sensors, the PLC inputs and outputs. It is a 20 amp power supply made by Muir. Then over here you have just distribution blocks and fuses for the highest voltage. Main fuses, they are 30 amps fuses here for the 3 phases coming in. Other fuses here for all the drives. So all the drives are PowerFlex 525 except that one. That one is a PowerFlex 70. So we're using that PowerFlex 70 for a torque control or torque set point on the strapper, the strapping head. So during the tensioning portion of the sequence, we're going to send a torque limitation based on the recipe to the PLC, to the drive. So we are actually controlling the strap tension using that PowerFlex 70. Okay, just want to check here lower. You have a braking resistor here on the left. That braking resistor is tied to the turn cross up and down. So braking resistor to dissipate the extra voltage generated on the down motion as the turn cross goes back to the bottom. Since the load is actually pushing the turn cross, we're using that to eliminate possibility of drive going in an over voltage fault. Okay. You have Ethernet control on the first 3 drives, which are the wrapper pre-stretch, the wrapper carriage up and down, and the turntable. And you also have Ethernet on the strapping head drive, and as well as the side seal, so which is the head movement. So we are moving the head close to the load. So because we're doing some speed variation there, Ethernet on that one. I just want to see if here. Okay, so Ethernet switch. You have 4, 8, 9 unused ports. So it's a Muir Ethernet switch. And it is in fact a 16 ports. So we're using only 7 of them. Okay, main PLC is an Allen Bradley L306ER. So, I'm sorry, 5069 L306ER. It has the dual IP address capability, but right now it is configured in linear mode, so it has only one address as we speak. This is just expansion module made by Muir again, so just to add on additional inputs and outputs. Here in yellow you have your safety controller made by SICK, monitoring the safety, which is e-stops, fence door, and light curtains. So monitoring and executing category 3 safety level. Contactor here for the welding motor on the strapping head. Here we have a distribution block for 24 volts and then a bunch of 24 volt fuses depending on the circuits. In orange here, made by IFM, that's your standstill module. This module will monitor the strap movement, or the strap, I can call it the strap speed. So we have a sensor on the strap giving pulses to that module, and when the pulse rate is changing, we get a feedback to the PLC notifying, well, we just finished one of the steps there. Okay, then control relays. So depending on the circuits there, we have a bunch of relays. Then here you have your safety relays, distribution block again, power outlet for programming purposes. Then here on the bottom you have just terminals to distribute for the connection on the quick plugs. So that's pretty much it for the control panel. Let me pan through so you have a better visual on the devices. All right, let's start on the top. Here your air conditioner. I'm going to zoom in the PLC a little bit so hopefully I can focus right. So you can see the model. Okay, these cables here sorry about the noise. These cables are connected to the labeler communication, so I can demonstrate the sequence there later on. So I'll begin with just a walk around the system, and I'll demonstrate the sequence right after. So that's pretty much it for the control panel itself. So now let's take a look at the machine. Okay, so chain conveyor with the load setting on it right now. So we would be receiving from this side or that side of the chain transfer. So we will be measuring and centering the load here. So that's your centering photo eye. So either way, we're going to be receiving. The load will always be centered on the conveyor line for the turn cross. Okay, so you can see that's your valve and air pressure to adjust the airbag pressure on the chain transfer. All right, and then you have a set of live curtains. Then you have the strapper itself. So I had the head moved out a little bit so we have a better visual on it. But since I am far back here, I'm going to show you the turn cross. Then that's your lens being pulled out at the moment. Okay. So here on the strapping head, you have the probe detecting when we're getting against the load. That's your floating mechanism. So you can see spring loaded there to remove some weight of the head. So it is basically equaling the strap tension on top and bottom. So just to be nicer on the product. Okay, so I'm attempting to show the drive mechanism for the head movement in and out. So it is timing belt driven, and on the very bottom there you can see proximity sensors for the head positioning. Okay, then I'm going to try to get a better visual of the dispenser and the actual arch itself. All right. Good deal. So now moving on to the wrapper. Just a regular stretch wrapper here, so 16 RPM. That's your cut and wipe system. The plates aren't installed on the tower there, but we have them all. That's your lube system, lube station. You push some grease into the turntable ring gear bearing. All right, now let's take a look inside the tower. That's your carriage up and down motor with the reducer. We also have a post counter here on the right. Maybe a little hard to see. Let me try a different angle. Let's try this way. Not really better. But anyway, we are receiving pulses so we can follow the position of the carriage as it moves up and down. That's inside your tower. Just idler sprockets on the top. Okay, then you can see here against the back of the tower, that's your plates to install on the side seal. Another visual of the proximity sensor here, much better visual in fact. And then that's your, here the three wheels you see there, that's the drive mechanism for the head in and out movement. Okay, so back to the wrapper. Here you have your pedestal, which is allowing to rearm and restart the system after you end an operator entry. Here on the floor you have the key switch, the beacon light to notify the machine alarms, and then that switch right beside this here, that's for the labeler. So I'll use that to demonstrate the labeling sequence right after. Okay, here the carriage, the pre-stretch, I'm sorry, 250%. Sprocket and chain. You have tilting mandrel. It's the handle and the proximity sensor. You can see if the handle is not locked in properly, you'll get an alarm message on the HMI saying mandrel not in locked position. That's to ease out the film roll change. You're going to get a steel cover on the carriage, which is not installed as we speak, but will be installed right before quality control. Here on the clamp, you have spring-loaded clamps. That would ensure that we maintain a film inlet clamp when the safety is breached, so the air pressure is dropped. We're not losing the film. Then on the outfeed, you have another set of light curtains. You have your forklift bumper. There is a forklift photo eye, but kind of hard to see. It is actually mounted here on the bottom, but I'm showing it right now in between the rollers, but it's in fact below the rollers, looking on the side here. But maybe you can see the red dot here on the wall. That's it. So you can adjust that to detect forklift presence. Okay, so another angle of the system. All right, so what I'll do, I'll get ready to do a run through. So that load you see over there on the in-feed will actually go across the system being strapped and wrapped. And I'll also demonstrate the labeling sequence, which would happen right here on the turntable, the wrapper turntable. So I'm gonna set this up, I'll be right back. All right, so just before I'm getting the machine in operation, I'm gonna demonstrate the film loading. So first of all, first step is to open the fence access door. You can hear the air being purged out of the system, and now we're in safety mode. So once again, the tilting mandrel that allows you to change the film roll easily. So for the film threading to the clamp, you only have to push that button here, pull open the clamp, the carriage door, pull enough film length in between these two idler rollers here, just like that. And you have to pull enough to reach out the clamp. And as mentioned earlier, the clamp is just spring-loaded, so you can easily open the clamp just with one end like that. Set the film in clamp. I like to pull a little loose there, so when I'm closing the gate, it's actually easier. And once your proximity sensor is made, that's a confirmation that your gate is properly shut. And this is it, you're ready to go. And at this point, I would just walk outside the fence door. I would shut the fence door. And here I would use the rearm, which will re-engage the safety, and the machine is now ready to run. Okay, here we'll demonstrate how to use the buttons here, the station for the strapping head operation. So first of all, the fence key switch has to be open. So that's the first condition, which I just did. So you can see right now, if I am using this button, or this one, there's nothing working in fact, because you need to use the trigger. The trigger here is a 3-position trigger, so you have to go mid-position. So that's position number 1, which is fully extended. Half a pressure is giving an authorization for the head to function. And if you're pushing too much, it's the same as not pushing at all. So some people would call these dead man switch. So a half pressure, and then these 3 buttons can operate at this point. So the black button here on the top is the load button for the strap. So you would push in there, and with one thumb, you can use. So it's a small shut, so you can see it's very small jog demand. So that's the first feed function that you could use. Here you have the feed strap. So at all time you want to do an operation, you have to maintain the dead man switch in the middle position. So I'm not going to repeat it every time, but it's always a condition to give any command there. So dead man, and then you can use the feed button. So it's actually pushing the strap around the arch. You can use the index head to cut the strap, which will index the head and cut, and then the head would stay open so you can actually remove the strap from it. But you can also, by pressing both buttons at the same time, it's a feed reverse. So instead of cutting all that strap that I pushed around, you can actually pull it back to the dispenser by pressing both simultaneously. And then at some point, you will actually get the strap out of the head. So I'll demonstrate what happened in this case. Just like that. So now you can see the strap is no longer into the head. So in order to feed it back in there, you're gonna notice the natural curve of the strap. So you gotta put the curve as a smile. So the curve up into the feeding tube right here, and you push in until you feel that you're pushing against a hard stopper. And this is where you would use the trigger here, half pressure, and feed. So it's actually grabbing the tip of the strap. And now you can, again, either feed, pull back, or index the head. So once you're indexing, you're waiting for the head to stop. Now it is open. I can actually reach in the arch and pull the strap out of it. So it just did a fresh cut there. So now the strap is just in the head. There's no more strap in the arch. And you could leave it as is, or you can go back to home position. So the light here shows that the head is in home position, which is ready to feed. But if you forget it at the open position, the machine will actually close it back for you. All right, here I am restarting all zones, doing a reset, and then the Ethernet communication will trigger this load to transfer on. And here we are centering. I said earlier that this would be a measuring and centering, but it's not the case. It's a fixed value set for receiving from the second in feed, and another value set for receiving from the customer. All right, so these two values are adjustable on the HMI. Getting in position, bayonet coming out, feeding the strap in the arch, pull back, tensioning, welding, and releasing. And the load moves reverse for the second strap. Let me reposition here, like that. Bayonet, feeding, pull back, tensioning, welding, cool down, releasing. Okay, now the load goes to the turn cross. Reversing to the first strap location. Final strap. right, now, as the load goes back to the turn cross, I'm walking around so you have a better visual of, and then it's going to the wrapper. I'm going to attempt to show you the weldings on the straps as the load goes to the wrapper. And now for the wrap cycle, I'm going to set the camera on a stand right here. And after the wrap cycle, I will be demonstrating the communication with the labeler. Okay, so I'm going to be using this switch here to trigger a signal. So when it's on, it's the labeler tap being home position, like here. And when the light goes on, it's our signal to the labeler saying request for a label application. So we're going to be stopping at 90 degrees from home, giving a signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. Okay, so I took the signal from tap home off and back on again. Now index 90 degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm waiting 10 seconds just to simulate the labeling, but I could go faster, but the thing is I want to simulate a regular wrap cycle time. So here I didn't count it out, but I will still take the signal off and back on again. Now on the last position, we are in home position, so we can actually cut at the same time as we are labeling. So that's being applied. And then I'm just going to wait for the push arm there, and then job done. So now it's indexing to send out to the outfeed conveyor. All right, so this is it for the run through. On the next clip, I will do another run through, but with inducing some errors. So like a knee stop, for example, I'll show you how to rearm knee stop or a fence door being open. So I'm going to set this up and be right back. Okay, here what I'm demonstrating is the rearm, the safety rearm. So we have the load going to the wrapper. So what I'll do, once it is in position there, I don't want to screw out the centering. I'll just do a knee stop, just like that. We have the air pressure being dumped. So now I can access the zone, or, well, at this point it's a matter of removing the E-stop, rearming the safety. Once the safety is rearmed, you can restart the process at this point. And also, safety breach. Another safety breach could be the light curtain being tripped out, just like that. So you can see everything stops. Dump valve again. So since right now there's nothing in front of the light curtain, I can just rearm and restart at this point. Now, if I want to entry, you can see now the key switch is locked out. So what needs to be done is a request for entry. So stop in the wrapper. Once the wrapper is stopped, it will unlock. Oh, sorry, I need to stop the strapper as well since it is in the same fence area. Now I can open the fence, access to whatever device, then exit, close the door again, rearm, and restart. So this is it.